Hello and welcome back to Oolykee Gaming, welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources. So at Republic Mod Monday, we have Ford Model T, Watertowers and a lot of Polish buildings. Straight away, disclaimer, there's a lot of amazing mods. We have fighter jets, we have a lot of big modders who create on a daily basis, weekly basis. You need to go and check out whatever was released in the last 7 days. This is just something that caught my eye and I wanted to present it to you in this video. So disclaimer, this is not promotion or anything, this is something that interests me and I hope that it might interest you as well. Check out the links in the description of the video. First, Mr. Novum, Mr. Wizard, 1900s windmill. A windmill designed from the early 1990s was commonly used by farmers in rural residents before the countryside was electrified. Produces very little electricity, no collision enabled, added windmill organizer, yada yada yada. You have more details in the link in the description. So there are two different windmills that you can build here, one with steel infrastructure and one of them with wooden one. And of course we have an organizer here. So how does it look like? You can see here how you can actually organize your cables as you wish. Now, how does it compare to vanilla one? We have a vanilla on the right hand side here. I'm gonna put it on the right hand side and we're gonna go to a mod section and check out the construction requirements for these windmills here. Now the vanilla ones are on the right hand side, and we have the steel windmill that requires 7 tons of steel, which is more than the vanilla one. Does require a little bit less work, a little bit less concrete, a little bit less gravel, a little bit, you know where this goes. So it requires a little bit less rest of the materials, but it does require 7 tons of steel. Now, it cannot really be compared to the wooden one, because wooden one produces the same amount of electricity, but instead of steel, it does require 10 tons of steel, but it requires 10 tons of boards. How does it compare power production wise? So these ones are 5 megawatt hour windmills, and if we go to our power production here, 15 megawatt for the small ones and 35 megawatts for the big ones. So definitely not overpowered, definitely are a little bit more challenging than vanilla structures. Mr. Vicom and the water towers, 2 water towers both working as a heat substation. Now this is genius. I would be really happy if it was just something visually appealing, but actually has a function. These two are kind of usual. Where I come from in the Balkans, we had it in every village, we probably still do. Now I think big farms have these kind of things for water storage. And the second one is iconic Brno water tower. You have more descriptions about this in the link of the video, so check it out. Now, in the game, we're probably gonna get water resources, but unfortunately, until we do, Mr. Vicom actually made it possible for them to actually have some kind of pipes connected to it, and that would be as a heat exchanger. So we're gonna compare it. How does it compare with the heat exchangers for vanilla game? We have both small and the big one here. So I'm gonna go for the big heat exchanger first, and if we go here, we have a big one requiring 420 work days, which is less than vanilla one. It requires much less bricks to be finished. It does require a little bit less steel to be finished. We have 44 tons of concrete compared to only 10 tons in vanilla building. It does require more mechanical components, but that's about it. The rest of it, it's a little bit more expensive to go with the vanilla one, but this is a conic structure. Definitely, I think it should be in a range. And then we have the smaller water tower here. We're gonna compare it to the small heat exchanger. You can see on the left hand side, small heat exchanger, small water tower requires 140 work days to be finished, 6 tons of steel, a little bit more than vanilla building. It requires 4 times more mechanical components and about the same amount of gravel, but that's not important. So it's more or less equal, but it's something different. If you want to see this something different in your cities, definitely you should go for this and check out the link in the description of the video. Mr. Rob 074 and the library. This is a library based on a real building in Lublin. It serves 5 workers and it serves 25 people. Of course, this is not the first or this is not the last mod we're gonna see from Mr. Rob's here. I'm gonna compare this mod to the vanilla one, and let's see here. On the left hand side we have vanilla. The only thing we can compare it with is cinema, which is going to be a little bit more expensive. On the left hand side we have a library that requires 334 work days compared to 950 for the cinema. It does require 4 tons of steel compared to vanilla one requiring 20 tons of steel. It does require bricks and boards, unlike the vanilla one. And in general, it should be a little bit cheaper, but of course it serves much less people, so definitely comparable to vanilla one. Link in description of the video. Mr. Raytheon, Pack Supermarkets, greetings. The mod contains 4 department stores, building grocery department store made according to projects, yada yada yada. There's a lot of projects there, and there's a huge description of this if you want to go and check it out. I'm just gonna say that that's it. You have all the detailed descriptions of these shops. Now there are different ones. You have a corner shop, you have a normal big one. They both have the same capacity, people-wise and material-wise, and then you have a couple of smaller ones, which again, the smallest has 5 people at maximum and up to 1 ton of food for storage. That would be around 5.5 tons, sorry, 2.5 tons for the stuff, and the a little bit bigger one has around 5.5 tons of capacity for stuff. Now, how does it compare to vanilla ones? Unfortunately, we can't compare it to the shops because they sell everything, so we're gonna compare it to the shopping center. So we have a big shopping center and a small shopping center. I'm gonna compare it to both. Let's start with the small one first. If we go to our mod section and we find our shops, you can see here that the vanilla one requires 581 work days to be finished, and let's say that we're gonna stick to just steel, 12 tons of steel. The vanilla one would be, the small vanilla one would be more or less more expensive than any of these buildings. They are smaller and they probably have less capacity, but they are cheaper to build. So this is the small one. Big one, so all of these buildings are a little bit cheaper than the small shopping center, supermarket, and of course we're not going to compare it to big ones because it's going to be really different. Now these are buildings that are supposed to be in a specific timeline, so definitely something that wouldn't be compared to big shopping markets. Shopping markets. Yes, anyway, we're gonna continue on. Check out the link in the description of the video. Now here we have something new. Railway viaducts. Collection of Victorian railway viaducts in various sizes, including filler buildings that can be placed under the arches. What's special about them? Well, this is something unique, and if you ever went to City of London or any UK railroad infrastructure, you're going to see a lot of those. These are kind of brick bridges, and of course a lot of them, including outside of UK. I think Charles Bridge as well has some kind of structure in Prague, has also some kind of structures underneath a similar design bridge. You have these viaducts which you're gonna have to place in a straight order. They're not bendy like some of the structures in vanilla game, so we're not gonna compare this to vanilla game, but you have a set of viaducts that you can place over a gap, over well, wherever you want to viaduct over. But they also have a lot of buildings that you can attach, like storages, like vehicle depots, like substations. You can have shops, you can have cold storages. You have a lot of different stuff that you can build underneath there. Now this is a lot of fun, so I'm gonna leave this to you to check it out and to implement it to best of your abilities, or whatever you think is the best to do this. Now check out the link in the description of the video, and let's move on. Right, of course, this is Mr. Fiend and the Railway Viaducts. I do apologize for not presenting it properly. Again, Mr. Rob's 074 Brick Factory. Brick Factory, loosely based on a real building in Lublin, Poland, employs 70 workers, requires 31 tons of coal, and produces 47 tons of bricks per day when fully staffed. Right, this is something I was waiting for a long time, because all the brick factories we had, especially the vanilla ones, they are kind of rackety old buildings, and I'm pretty sure that we needed something better for the late stages of the game, and this is it. Now, how does it compare? Mr. Robs usually has a good track record of building realistically priced buildings, so we're gonna go real quickly and check it, find it here, brick building, and we're gonna compare it to vanilla one. Vanilla one requires 2,726 work days to be finished. In this one, Mr. Rob's requires 2,437 days, which is a little bit less, but it requires more concrete, it requires more or less the same amount of steel, a little bit less bricks, and a little bit less boards. It does require more asphalt though, so I think it's price-wise comparable to Mr. Rob's, to Mr. Vanilla, to Mr. Vanilla's mod. So definitely something that I'm gonna be using all the time. Mr. Rob's Take 3. This is a railroad construction office. Again, something that I was really waiting for, and finally we have it. This is a railroad construction office, so we can build our own railroads. Now, it has 2 entrances on one side and only three entrances on one side and only 2 on the other side, so you can connect it. It looks quite realistic, and I love how it looks like. It has a space for 4 different vehicles, as you can see here. Now let's compare it to Vanilla one, and how does it compare construction wise. Let's go for, on the right hand side, we're gonna have Vanilla one. It requires 2077 days to be finished. Now railroad construction office requires 3757 work days. It does require 100 tons of concrete, which is double the Vanilla one. It does require yada yada yada. It requires double almost everything, at least double, so as well as steel. So this will take a huge chunk of money out of your pocket compared to Vanilla one, so definitely realistic and challenging to build. Mr. Crowd Scene Extra, Ford Model T. Now, I have a criticism about this model. I remember Mr. Henry said something that you can choose any color of this car as you wish, as long as it's black. I believe that was black or blue or something like that. But anyway, there is a whole line of these vehicles. I can't tell you how much warms my heart to see this Model T built in this game. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to use American dollars to buy this vehicle. So if you go to American purchasing, well, purchase American vehicles, the only one that we can compare it to is the Beat. That would be the Beetle, West Germany Beetle, and it costs $1,510 to buy. Now this is going to be shocking because all of these Model Ts, except for the basic model, are more expensive than even the Beetle, so the price is going to go up, and the capacity, of course, for some of these vehicles is quite low, half a ton of meat or 900 kilos of oil, kilos of oil, and that kind of stuff. So this is iconic vehicle that you probably just want to have as, you know, iconic vehicle on your roads, old-timer. Mr. Abel Young Hike 852, Yerevan Lenin Avenue building, residential building based on a real building in Yerevan, Armenia, accommodates 240 workers. You have description in, I believe, Russian as well. I'm not gonna go and check it out. Oh, there's actually a link. I spent like few minutes searching for this, first finding which one is Lenin Avenue because it doesn't exist anymore, it was changed, and then looking through the Google Maps and Google Street View for the buildings, and I finally found it, and there's actually a location of the building probably in the description of the mod. Now this is like I said, I'm a sucker for realistic historical buildings, and more the merrier, especially because this one doesn't have collisions as well. Perfect, absolutely perfect, something I'm gonna be using in my Let's Plays all the time, trust me on that. Now we have this building, and how does it compare to Vanilla one? In this case we have Vanilla building on the, there we go, we're gonna go on the right hand side, and we're gonna go to our mod section, we're gonna go straight away to residential, and here we go. So this building requires, we can compare it only to the biggest Vanilla building we have, and that would be 189 people building. And this one, the difference is that the Yerevan building requires a little bit of less work days to finish, requires a little bit less steel, it requires a lot of bricks, but comparable to prefab panels a little bit less, and then concrete is 47 tons, and there we go, at least this is a little bit more. So this is a little bit, should be a little bit cheaper building than biggest Vanilla one, and of course it has a smaller footprint, and definitely something I'm gonna be using in my Let's Plays. Anyway, check out the link in the description of the video. Mr. Nuprin Feelgood and Verdant Shores. Verdant Shores is a name, says all, a large map that is primarily flat, easy to build upon, but not unrealistic. 6 map connections, 3 on each side, 1 of each size. For all intent and purposes, this is an unpopulated map. All the population is beyond the map edges. Enjoy, yada yada yada. If you have more description in the description of the video, link to the mod. Now this is something different, something looks easy, might be, but still I think it has some challenges that you have to deal with. It's a really beautiful map. It's sloping, it's not really flat, I mean It's kind of flat. It's not that it has high mountains, but it's really, really beautiful. I like it. Let's check out the geography of the map. So you have it here. The geography of the map. You can see that you have kind of. It looks from here that there are two different seas, lakes, water bodies, but actually it's connected through the middle. We're gonna jump through here and see. This is the narrow passage. Probably I see a lot of bridges being constructed here. Now let's go for a resource. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 border crossings on each side, American and Russian ones, and of course you can use the seas to transport the stuff. Coal. Everything is located in. It's not too much. I think it's quite tastefully supplied with resources. You have a little bit of iron, a little bit of coal, only one source of oil in the middle of the map, so it's not really easily accessible from the corner of the building, as coal so. You're going to be exporting to Soviet countries, and you cannot really easily start with coal because it's pretty far away from the border crossing. Iron, on the other hand, we can start exporting iron there. Now, we have uranium ore, but it's really, really bad. The source here around this area here. I'm gonna show you now around this lake, but it's really, really low quality. And then you have some bauxite all the way on the southwest of the map. So this is how it actually looks like. It looks really, really nice. I'm actually quite enjoying going through this map. I was going for like the last 10-ish minutes. It's really, really nice. Anyway, look, if you enjoyed this, go and check out all the mods. Remember, we have amazing community, a lot of good people, good modders who are creating a lot of good content, and go there and appreciate it. Thumbs up and all that good stuff. If you like this video, press the like button. If you didn't, leave a nasty comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, notification bell, ring it, comment section, hit it, and if you want to support the channel, you have the description of the video. Thank you for everything. See you in the next one. Bye bye.